Without further ado, hello, my name is Lisa Johnston. Hi, and I am the lead ambassador or lead Kira Grace Warrior Ambassador. It's a mouthful, I have to say, but I'm so excited to be able to host our very first Grace Rewards webinar. It's our VIP webinar, and we are going to be introducing to you an amazing brand and an amazing woman. And I'm so excited that we're going to be able to hear all about her journey, as well as get to know our brand founder, Kira Karmazin. I have to make sure I say your name right as well. So first of all, I wrote a few things down, but I just wanted to say that, we're so excited. We couldn't wait to share our VIP program with you. It's called Grace Rewards, and it's designed to pamper our community here that we've created at Kira Grace. And since we're a small women-owned business, it was our first priority that we wanted to use our platform to introduce and highlight other women-owned businesses that we admire. These Grace Reward webinars are going to be hosted monthly, yay, with an introduction to the women-owned brand, like I said. And then we're also at the very end of each webinar, we're going to have the opportunity for you to be entered in a raffle to receive the product that's being featured here. Now, just want to tell you a little bit about our VIP program. It's called, like I said, Grace Rewards, and it has 3 tiers. It's Pink Lotus, Gold Lotus, and Platinum Lotus. And each level has different rewards that come along with it. And the more product you buy, obviously, the higher you go up in the program. But don't worry, if you're not in that VIP highest level yet, being here is entering you into the raffle. So you still have a chance to get that gift at the end. Now, the Pink Lotus, just want to tell you a little bit about it. This is all the business stuff that we have to handle at the beginning. The Pink Lotus, it offers you a $20 coupon for every 2,000 points. And that also gives you early access to our sales that come out. And then the Gold Lotus option, that level, actually you get the same thing. You get the $20, you get the early access, and you also, I've got to make sure I read this to get it right. You're able to vote on new products, have early access to our new collections, that you're also part of these monthly live events, workshops, and raffles. And then finally, for our Platinum Lotus ladies, you receive all of the before mentioned things. And in addition to that, you get a free holiday gift, which is amazing. And you get a dedicated concierge appointment and an opportunity to win a soul reading every quarter. That just sounds so amazing. So the best part is that when you're in the Platinum tier, every month, if you buy a product, you get the gift with purchase from the company, the female-owned company that we are featuring that month. Now, if you're not in the Platinum tier, you can still go to our website, and Kira, with 2 R's, is going to post in the chat a link that you can click on to go and purchase the product that's being featured in our webinar. So, today, an example, you can go click on that link and you can purchase the amazing tin that we're going to be hearing about, this travel tin by Scentered. And I love it. I love that. So like I said, it's only right that we start with the brand Scentered and Lara Morgan, because this is a brand that we admire so much. And I'm going to read this because I want to get it right. It's founded by the lovely Lara Morgan. You can see her right there. And they aim to teach people how to become in tune with their senses and create a ritual or routine that is specifically using the smell as a tool to direct our thoughts, actions, and emotions as a way to live better and to have to lead a happier quality of life. That sounds good to me. Lara Morgan she was inspired by the absence of a portable aromatherapy product. And so she was inspired to just get to work, to fill that niche. At the forefront of her journey was prioritizing eco-conscious efforts when creating her products and delivering natural, cruelty-free, quality essential oils. These solutions work to help consumers mindfully transition their moods, thoughts, and emotions throughout the day. These leak-proof, mess-free oils are found by scouring the globe to discover the finest ingredients and premium-grade essential oils grown by reputable farmers. So first of all, I just love that they are not leaky, because for those of us who use essential oils and we try to travel with them, it's a hassle. The whole thing is a hassle. And if you're lucky, you don't have your entire suitcase smelling like something else, so there's that. So I just wanted formally, Lara, hello, welcome.
Hello.
Welcome, I mean, I'm so excited.
I hear the length of that and I think, oh God, if I was listening, please tell me something, that's going to really inform my life. And I'm sitting here going, actually, this balm's changed my life. So I don't mind you talking about it. And I hear you and I go, yeah, I used to travel. I mean, just before the call, we were checking in and I traveled 84 countries in 1 year. And I'm a salesperson by trade. I was selling to hotels. So it wasn't sort of luxury travel. It was hardcore sales travel. And I had 3 small children. And so sleep was like the most valuable thing in the universe. I would have bought anything for sleep. But actually using aromatherapy oils was a pain because the pressure in air travel makes them leak and they're not very good as rollerballs. But the bottom line is that I don't want to apply something greasy to my skin. I just want something that I can take out of my pocket and I can apply it. It's all about your pulse points and, your ability to take a stop, inhale and reset. And that's actually probably very powerful for any of the mothers in the room, because sometimes just as I want to strangle my teenager, which is apparently quite illegal, I have to do the stop, inhale and reset and become human again. So, Scented is not only the word of taking back control, it's actually very complex blends that affect your mindset.
Oh, wow. That sounds wonderful. And I love the whole idea like that. It's a mindful moment that you can have any time, that there's not the mess of having to unscrew the top and then put it with some kind of combination oil, that you can just put it on and go. And I like that.
Yeah.
That you can
just. And actually, let's be honest. I mean, most of us are leading very full lives. We're juggling things. So when I started my first business, I was 23, totally uneducated. So don't worry about education. You'll just work it out or read it in a book as you go along, or apparently now I'm so old, they haven't got quite the internet grip of things. But, I look back and I think travel was such an important part of that journey and my experiences and everything that's molded what we do now. But I think in the foundation of that, it's about just having the confidence to have a go, even though it could go wrong.
Yeah.
So important.
Well, that kind of leads me to the first question that we're going to be doing. I'm going to be asking is I'll be asking both you and Kira what it was that, inspired you to start this company. And since we are already speaking with you, Lara, and you've kind of touched on this a bit, I want to just put that question to you first. What was it that inspired you to found Scentered?
So genuinely, mum's a bit of an aromatherapy guru. I grew up with a sort of very natural home base. I actually grew up in Hong Kong, so very different scents and smells. And we traveled a lot in Asia. But ultimately, I think, first of all, perhaps the audience need to know that scent is embedded in the scientific way we're influenced as children through the hypothalamus. So this isn't just a nice fragrance. This is a blend of things that affect your mindset. And I do it because in my first business where we sold, the miniature shampoos and shower gels that in the old days, I used to always encourage everybody to nick and take them home. But now that I've created the plastic ocean, I have an awful lot to make up for the world and planet damage I've done. So I decided this time, whatever I did, I wanted a brand that I could refill so we can refill our balms. And I wanted packaging that was at the cutting edge of anything that we could do in technology to deliver the least waste and the most easy touch point. But ultimately, Scented is all about the individual where, we go through these transitions in life. We're tired, we have a bad night's sleep, we need to focus at work, we might want to go on an underground ride and it's pretty stinky. But so the idea is we have 6 blends that affect daily transitions and mindset change to help you through the day. And, of course, there's the hero of de-stress and sleep well. And I'm sure Kira Grace will tell you about the genius of the sort of proposition that they do. And our genius is very simple. It took 4.5 years to blend really attractive aromatherapy essential oils into a natural base that then stay firm. And I don't know if you can see that, but it is literally, and of course people will go, is it a lip balm? And you go, no, you put it on your temples and you put it behind your ear, and it's portable. And in fact, the package, I don't know if you can see it in the picture, the mini kit behind me, but the miniatures they're just genius, because I have them in my pockets, and it's just every day a boost of confidence, which I think we're getting together, because actually the more we learn from each other, the farther we go.
Right. Thank you so much. And that, that it's really that founding this particular business, it helped you first and foremost, with your travel and with your mood and knowing what the need was, and then wanting to take that out to the community.
So silly small inside.
Yes.
We have 6 balms, and one of the balms called Love, I used to absolutely hate. And this is an underpinning of how strong and how meaningful essential oils can be. But now I'm in menopause, I absolutely love my Love balm. And literally, says she, going through a hot flush nearly. But life is just too short not to be honest about what we love and the way things change. And sometimes you need a mother's hug and you feel hormonal, and other times you just want me time. Mm-hmm. So I'm not earthy crunchy, which is the way I refer to my mother. I kind of want to be a modern, digital, professional businesswoman, but I also am prepared to admit that I need a little bit of support from time to time.
Yes. I need to get that love too. I'm with you on that.
Yeah.
If I can just get a hug by putting a little balm on, I'm all about it. Right.
Yeah. Easy.
So Kira, I'm going to just ask you the same question. How did you go about, well, it's 2 questions. I'm going to digress just for a moment. Kira, what was it that inspired you to want to highlight these women-owned businesses? Why was that important to you?
Oh, I'm so glad you asked that question. Our customers asked us to. We survey our customers regularly, and last summer, when we were basically closed for 3 months, we were just talking about, we didn't have any production for a while. We wanted to increase our connection and really get to know our customers even better. And so we spent a lot of time talking to our customers and surveying them, asking, what do they love? What do they not love? What would they like to see more of? What articles should we be publishing? And there was this groundswell around highlight, spotlight other women-owned businesses. We want you to discover amazing things and share them with us. Mm-hmm. And we love that idea so much. It completely ignited us. And we've had so much fun searching and looking for the right collaborators. And we're just so excited that Scentered is our first, because we swooned over the product. I love essential oils. They're part of my life. And then having something that's portable is such a joy. And, everything about this brand is incredible. The packaging is so, so beautiful. And I love beautiful things, but the packaging is beautiful. The scents are beautiful. I just went on a spa retreat with girlfriends this weekend and brought a few of these with me. They're just really lovely to have. It's like something that now that is a part of my life, I can't believe I didn't have it in my life before. But so that's how we were inspired. But we just, I would say, customers lit the fire, and we have been running with it, because we just are so excited about getting to know other women running businesses right now, especially during this time, and having that opportunity to collaborate.
Yes. And I think that, how can we support each other as women is to become aware of other women-owned companies, right? Yeah. And then support them, go out, buy their products, share it with our friends, and that's how we can elevate each other and really help each other succeed. So here's the follow-up question for you, Kira, that we heard Lara talk about what it was that inspired her to choose to focus on aromatherapy. What was it that got you to land on founding a company that did a premium yoga clothing?
That was a journey. That's a long journey. But I've always loved clothes. I've been obsessed by them since I was a little girl. I mean, designing, sketching, just loved them. Went into the garment business, as my trade. Worked in that business for 25 years. Worked with amazing companies and amazing brands. And one of the most salient stopovers, if you will, was working for Lucy Activewear, which was part of VF Corporation at the time and is no longer in business, but I ran all the creative. And it was such a wonderful thing to work with an almost entirely women run company. And there was no greater joy for me, and I never felt more alive than creating clothes and marketing and talking to women and working with that product line. It was really, really wonderful thing. When Lucy closed, I moved on to work for another company in baby clothes, which was so much fun. But there was something missing. I felt like I missed the work that I was doing before. And at the same time, I attended this retreat at Omega Institute up in New York, and it was about women in power. And it was a call to lead. And so it spoke to me so deeply. And there were a lot of other things going on in my life at the time, but it planted the seed to just take the risk and step out and create your own business. Like, why not? Why not? It was so clear more women needed to take that risk. And it's hard for us. It's really scary.
Yeah.
I was talking to my team today, like women have so much responsibility, we have really broad shoulders. And then to add to that career risk, it's like, woohoo. But I really felt that I owed it to myself, my daughter, to show that women can rise and we can do it. And the product line that I loved the most in all of my work experience, and I've worked with a lot of clothing companies, from bras and panties to kids' clothes, was activewear, because it was part of something that I really believed in. I believe that clothes change the way you feel, and when you put them on. And I wanted to create a product line that really change the way you felt about yourself when you put it on, whether it was through print, pattern, color, the way that our design lines are, but something that's really flattering and builds confidence. And Lara, you had mentioned that building confidence thing. And I think that's so important, especially when we're putting on workout clothes, right? I mean, it's like, let's feel good about what we're going to do, because that next hour and a half, whether you're practicing yoga or going for a run or hitting the gym, that's your gift to yourself. And I wanted to work on a collection that really supported that journey with her.
Yes. And, you talked about this, but it's like you're putting on a uniform, and that, like you mentioned, that when we put on different things, it changes the way that we feel. So if I come home and I throw my sweatpants and holy t-shirt on, guess how I'm going to feel, right? We've all been there. But then when we put on these beautiful clothes, we go out and you feel, like you said, more confident, and even to smell better while we're doing it makes it even better, I have to say. And you don't have to this is, the 2020s, I don't know, what do we call it? People don't just wear our active clothes to go be active. It's so nice to wear them out with friends and to wear them around the house, that we can look and feel good wearing these things anytime. So I just wanted to say that myself, because when I go work out, I leave those things on for a while. Now, the next question is kind of the follow-up to you both. What were some of the main struggles that you faced with having a female, just having a startup? What were some of the things that you came up against?
Oh God, Kira, do you want to go first? My list is long and hideous, and it's an experience from hell, but maybe because I am sort of grander down, but I started my first business when I was 23. So we're going to go back to that. And funding is still a big issue for women businesses, and the statistics are terrible. And actually, that's another great reason why we need to celebrate women in business. And it's not because I think there should be a particular bias. I just think there needs to be a leveling up of the scales, where in the United Kingdom, 16% of all funding that is given to growth businesses goes to women-founded companies. 16%, 1/6. It's appalling, right? So my first bank overdraft or facility, they turned me down. And I know he turned me down because I was a woman. So that really made me very angry. I think all the way along, the fact of the matter is that we're always trying to push this comfort zone. And that's because if we don't push the comfort zone and we're not trying new each day, we're not growing our ability and our skill set. So whilst I also say the list is very long of the challenges, actually, I look back now and I think, do you know what? There isn't a day goes by where I don't remind myself, what's the worst thing that can happen? And that's a Dale Carnegie saying. And that was a brilliant inspiration for me, which is, you know what? Very little is the worst thing that can happen. I've got 3 daughters. They test me every day. But equally, I should be testing myself and leading by example, because I want brave women. I want outspoken women. Now I've got 3. I'm not so sure I need them in my house, but that's a completely other story.
You smell like your love.
And then I think then other challenges is, and Kira, you're in an unbelievably competitive industry, right? Loungewear has exploded because of COVID. If you were in pajamas, you're making loungewear and sports equipment. If you were in ball gowns and wedding dresses, you're now in loungewear and yoga, because that's the only thing that was potentially going to be happening. So I think innovating, constant challenges, innovating and testing that you're never satisfied with your lot. And then I think the challenges of constant learning. So, genuinely, we didn't have websites when I started my first company. Don't laugh out loud, people. It is true. There are still people living that didn't have a website. And, my phone was this big and I needed a personal concierge to carry the damn thing. But so actually what I'm touching upon there is this kind of digital beast where we want the customer at the center of our journey and we want to build these collaborations. But actually, the truth is that if we're genuine about our brand, we want to affect life. We want people to understand that it isn't just a passing trade, but that we're really serious about bringing more than a product, bringing better than an experience. And so those are the sort of, I guess, struggles that you're always learning and you're always growing. And I mean, I touch points at every area of your business. You just need to be progressing. So I think the other thing is that it's relentless. And every now and again, we need to sit back and say, oh, take a breath, right? Give yourself a break, a bit of self-care. And actually, it isn't going to go right all the time. So don't be down on yourself, because actually you can fight again. You can get up. It's like falling off a bicycle. So I think the other thing is that, support and somebody saying, hey, what did you learn? So that you can fight better another day. And I'm sure, Kira, you can answer the question much better than I can. But the last thing that I will say is you have to, if you're running a business, disproportionately spend exactly the kind of time Kira used sensibly talking to her customers and staying in touch with the customer and hearing the customer, and then doing things that help your business, because your customer is very wise. And when you're selling to them, they're giving you feedback, and that is a gift. So yeah, maybe a few points, because I would really like people to think about the customer-centric, customer brand journey.
Wonderful. Thank you. So much to unpack there. Kira, what about you?
Lara, that was amazing.
Yes.
Those are really wise words to share. And thank you for that. Those are really important things. To add to that, I think your question was what was the most challenging?
Yes.
Yeah. We have had a couple of really serious challenges, and then have learned so much from it. We've only grown out of it. So I would say that, well, I'll describe the challenges, but from each really tough period, we have grown from it. So our first really challenging period was when the wholesale business just started to collapse. All these independent yoga studios that used to be in business started to close. And trying to think of the year that was, but it was probably 4 or 5 years ago. And it was really just this shift in the way people were buying and the way people were supporting businesses. And all of these independent yoga studios that used to buy from us started to shut, they just couldn't compete anymore. They couldn't compete with Pure Barre. They couldn't compete with Core Power. They couldn't compete with their stores. They would have retail shops and they couldn't compete because everything was going online. And my heart was breaking for all of these businesses, And all these women had to restructure and do something different, whether that's, anyway, and we did too. So that impacted us. The majority of our business used to be wholesale back in the day. And right now we shifted from that. That was a tough couple of years. So for us to pivot like that and refocus all of our energy and say, wow, is this just a one-time thing, or is this just the new way of the world? And it is the new way of the world. We fought it for a little bit, started to do more wholesale shows, trying to fight the tide, and then just stepped back and said, no, you know what, business is all online, and we need to move our business online. We need to learn online. We need to, start Facebook ads, and all these things that seem so obvious now, but we were really late to the game on that because we were so supported by this foundation of yoga studios. And so we pivoted, and it took us a couple of years and really dug down. And I was just talking to my marketing manager today. I'm still not fluent in all the digital languages. I'm not fluent in Google right now, but I'm pretty fluent in Facebook. And so learning new things, adjusting to those shifts and tides and learning new things. So we've grown, our business has grown only because of that. And our team has grown, and we've learned a lot of new things, which has made me feel, like I'm still at this point in my career, still learning a lot. The second big challenge for us, which we touched on, so I won't go so into it, was really the pivot around the COVID closures and then everything our country was going through and the pain around that, the suffering, and that's global, right? So that's been a really heavy load for, I think, everyone. It's how do you march within that framework, and how do you work within that framework? So that's just a whole big thing for another discussion, but that has been a challenge for us on so many levels, and not just the production side, but the human side, people getting ill, people we care about. So just becoming a closer community, probably because of it. But that's been a really tough role for us, I think, emotionally.
Wow. Well, with the trials along the way, and I think you kind of made reference in the way that you answered already the last question, but I wanted to be just very specific and just ask, is there anything that you would do differently now? And why don't we go ahead and ask Lara, what would you do different now with starting your business? Maybe with whether it be this business with Scentered, or whether it's all the way back to the one when you were 23 years old.
Actually, God, there's so many things you think you'd do differently, or you think you'd like to have done differently. But I think everything you do, there's a outcome, and how we work around that outcome, and the people we meet, because maybe we went left, not right, or whatever. I think they all enrich you. And so I don't have much time for looking back and regretting, because actually I see it as a negative energy. I like to think of everything as just a lesson. And I mean, maybe that's a bit naive, but I would say the biggest, and it's not meant to lack humility, because I mean, Scentered has been very lucky during COVID. And I really struggle with this point, which is when people actually are suffering, they sleep less. So they need sleep well balm, and they're feeling stressed. So we offer them this amazing chamomile and, amazing spirituality in our escape balm, which when you go and practice yoga gives you that kind of balance and grounding. So, whilst we've had a very strong COVID, I have some other investments and they haven't. But if I was to look back at anything, I think you've just, in whatever business you lead, when you put people at the heart of it, I always regret that I don't always have as much time as I would like to have for my people and my customer, because my people work like Trojans, right? And there aren't enough ways to say thank you. There isn't enough hours in the day. And frankly, there's only so many candles you can send a member of staff when you own a candle company. So that's crazy, right? But and actually I was laughing because two of my ladies have just gone on maternity leave, and I'm like, can't sell them Scentered. But I can't send them Scentered as a thank you. But
send us a Grace.
Yeah, correct. But I mean, actually, I think if I was to regret anything, I've had a bit of a roller coaster in my previous approach to my fitness and my health. And I think I would say, do not regret making time for yourself in whatever is happening to you, because you cannot serve others unless you feel good about yourself.
Thank you. Thank you. How about you, Kira?
Yeah, my head went to a lot of things like, oh, should have moved to digital sooner, things like that were business oriented. But Lara, you got me thinking about, other things that truly, because that's just part of the journey, right? That's my journey. The only thing I think I wish I did earlier or differently, I started this company to get more time back in my life so I could be there for my daughter. That didn't happen. I mean, I had flexible time, but I didn't have more time. That's for sure.
Wow.
I probably had less time, but I could work whenever I wanted, which is like midnight sometimes. One of the hardest things to do is to delegate and really, hand over the reins to other people on the team, especially when you've like started it from scratch in your garage. So I have got an incredible team, and I should have been moving toward that point earlier. Like, get those incredible people earlier, and just don't work like 80, 100-hour work weeks. So that for me is my lesson, like really trust other people to do incredible things and to understand, your goals and mission.
Well, and it kind of goes along, my next question goes along with what you both said. First of all, Lara was talking about having gratitude for the amazing people on her team and their hard work. And you just mentioned, trusting those people that are on your team and being able to, when it's your baby, being able to give them, the trust that they will do their job and do it well, which they have. So what have you learned from those people on your team, and how has that shaped your brand and your company?
I'd love to take that one, because I've learned so many lessons about learning to shut up and listen to others, and actually really listen and accept that. And the biggest challenge, I think, women are very diligent. They're more diligent than the boys. The boys wing it, and they'll go for a job application when they've got 1/3 of the qualifications, and we've got 9 out of 10, and we think we're not qualified. It's insane, right? So first of all, I think we've got to be a bit more winging it. But more importantly, with that people thing, definitely the brains of the many are more powerful than the few. And just because I like X, that audience participation. So Kira, I must congratulate you on I thought the VIP part of this Grace Rewards package, I wrote it down because I'm going to steal the idea with pride, because we should always steal great ideas, right? But I just think that you vote for the newness. I think you said you vote for new products, you get insight from your customers. I think that's brilliant, because, they will tell you, right? And, I think that's really important. And, I do more of it every day. I try and trust, and I think women do find it difficult to trust, because they're juggling so many things. And it's like, if they drop one ball, oh my God, the whole day falls to pieces, right? So in the same way in business, they think the same way, but actually biggest learning, quite often my people, well, nearly all of the time, they do it better than me, probably in a different way. And I have something to learn.
And being open to that.
Yeah, definitely.
Do you have anything to add to that, Kira? Sarah's on mute for a little bit. Yeah, I mean, I've learned so much from my team. I think one of the things that really stands out is that really appreciating everyone's unique gifts. And we have like superstars, and they're all like truly complementary. And they just bring me alive, seeing them at work and the way that they flourish in certain things. So it's, I think just that has been really rewarding for me. And laughter, they get me to laugh. They get me to laugh a lot more than I probably normally would. So I think just having fun at work, trying to have fun at work and enjoy each other's company has been really, really, really good. So.
Oh, very nice. Well, I love all this. This is all so good. And I have to say, I'm looking around and I know that some of these women who are here are friends of mine, and they are small business owners and entrepreneurs. So I'm sure this has been super helpful. But what I'd like to do now is maybe for the next 5-10 minutes, we'd like to end maybe in about 10 minutes. I want to talk to you, Lara, about your product. I want to hear about the mini tin. You talked to us at the beginning about the stuff, but everybody pay attention and write this down, because to be entered in the raffle, you're going to need to know 3 of the scents that she offers.
Okay, so it's dead easy, but I mean, and the reason it's dead easy is because we all transition through these moods perhaps each day. And I'm not suggesting that you fall out of bed and you're miserable, but we start with Be Happy, which has kind of got lemon. And who doesn't like lemons and oranges, but lemon myrtle, and it's a really crisp, go happy. We call it sunshine in your pocket, and that's the yellow one. Okay, so that's easy. Get to work, need a bit of focus. That's rosemary and sage. And frankly, it's outside my house. I have a rosemary bush, and quite often I just grab a bit and I rub it between my fingers, because actually we know that that is uplifting, and your eyes will open. And this is the balm that's going to get you the raise, right? This is the confidence boost. You need to buy Focus if you want to get a bigger salary. That's the way that one works. The Chamomile de-stress balm is kind of like aligned to the Sleep Well. Our Sleep Well is extraordinary. It's sensational. And I'm kind of sad to tell you that de-stress is the sort of just second, but embedded, all of our balms are grease-free. You can apply them to your pulse points, but I think the Chamomile is utterly beautiful because it will absolutely calm your mindset, and that can help on mother-daughter days, I can tell you from my own experience. Kira Grace should all buy Escape. The Escape balm is actually, it's my way of transporting myself to Sri Lanka. I've been lucky enough to be there a number of times. I actually have my own yoga accessories company called Yogi Bear that's coming to America, but Escape just won an award in Great Britain as the best spa candle, and it is extraordinary. It has sandalwood, it has oud. We've been in vogue with this candle, and it's in an 100% natural base. It burns very cleanly, but actually, I probably shouldn't say this, but you don't need to burn it for long. You don't need to, it will literally fragrance a room. And we have gyms and fitness centers using it as part of their practice. Love, I used to think love was disgusting. So love is not disgusting anymore, because now that I'm in menopause, I know it's not really, I know it's recorded, but love is grounding. It is nurturing, it is balancing, it is your mother's hug, like I said earlier, but much more important, it's inner strength. So it has jasmine, which also fuels a bit of optimism. So, you know, when you're just feeling a bit down and you need to feel a bit up, cedarwood is the hug, and the rose is a very precious, sadly very expensive rose, Moroccan rose, but it's spectacular. And then Sleep Well, everybody will think of you're either a lover or a not liker of lavender, but actually this is a modern oriental lavender. It is extraordinary. It's a beautiful blend. And when you use Sleep Well, you're kind of, it'll stop itchy feet at night. You should have a ritual. You need to get off digital. I sound like my mother, but I am a mother who is desperately trying to get people to have a better sleep routine, because our sleep is our recovery. It's our recovery for our hydration, for our skin, for our living, for the way we put up with people that wind us up during the day. You know, it's the powerhouse of what we have for recovery. So Sleep Well is extraordinary. And that, ladies, is Be Happy, Focus, De-stress, Escape, Love, and Sleep Well.
And how many ounces are each of those little minis?
So they're actually 1.7, but for legal reasons, we have to declare under that. They're about 30 uses for each balm. So this isn't like, you know, when you have that lull in the day and you go buy a chocolate bar, this is my life, right? You can completely push that aside and start being kind of more disciplined about your routine, and you can enjoy it. But it's my resistance to chocolate bar fragrance set. Is Scentered, but it has much more artillery. But really, and actually we're about to bring out, hopefully CVS are about to take it, kind of grab and go pack sizes so that people can just buy the balm. But there are 30 uses in each of the balms. In the bigger balms, we think this will last 6 to 8 weeks. That's what we're told by our customers. There is a lot of balm in here. And the whole point of these is they're sitting in moringa oil and shea butter. It's 100% natural, the source. It's non-greasy, it's mess-free, it's not going to melt. And actually, critically, positive, mindful well-being. And that's what we do.
Wow. That's the, and I love that also, it's like you get all of these and it's not just one, you know, like one little try and one little sample, but you know, we're all so different. And I know that to your point, there are certain smells, by the way, that I used to hate that I love now. And, you know, and it's such a great deal as well that you get this tin, you figure out what works for you, and then get the bigger one, you know, and you can get those through your website. I'm assuming you can just go to your website and see your other products. And
what we're really proud of is, right, we're now trying to make as much of of what we do sustainable. So refillable candles, refillable balms. The minis are really a discovery tin. But this came about because I've had a metal pencil case for 34 years. It's the same pencil case. And I just felt if we were going to do the right thing and try and challenge these overpackaged, unnecessarily fluffy goods, we want to do it in a way that demonstrates, you know, you can use this for makeup holder or whatever you choose, but it's portable like my product. And we want you to have it, what we say, to whenever and wherever.
Yes, and it's beautiful. Can you bring that up closer to the camera so that we can see?
So I don't know if you
and show the outside as well, because I think that you've taken such care even with the design. I'm also a graphic designer, so I look at that and I just think it's gorgeous. Yeah,
cool.
Beautiful. So yes, and I just have to ask before we kind of open up to see if I don't know if there's any questions and stuff, but what's your favorite smell?
Oh, escape. I mean, sandalwood and oud, because and actually I was doing yoga this morning, and I've only recently got into yoga. I'm much more of a runner, and I've done biking and swimming, but I guess my old body is really appreciating the stretch of yoga. It absolutely gets me going in the day. And I think frankincense, sandalwood and oud are maybe transporting me to my Oriental upbringing, and I absolutely gravitate to that. And maybe it's because I just want to get out more at the moment. I don't know, but that's what scent does for you. You know, you gravitate to what you need.
It's true. And I know that there's certain smells that make me think of my childhood, and like you brought that
exactly.
up, the power of scent, and we can create for ourselves, you know, that feeling of tranquility, that you can train your mind that, okay, this is what peace smells like, so that you can come back to that. And each time it reinforces that feeling, I think, in our minds, in our bodies, in our souls. So thank you. Does anybody have a question that you would like to ask either of these incredible women? We're so fortunate to have them here. Feel free to ask them now. I know some of you are on your phones. It's a little hard to type in Zoom when you're on your phone. But
how long has Scentered been around?
Yeah. So we, like all good, I used to manufacture for gorgeous brands like Bulgari and Aromatherapy Associates. I used to be the manufacturer. That was my first job, putting those into hotels. And my part of Scentered was I wanted to provide really beautiful product at affordable prices, but surprisingly good value with this essential oil blend. And I thought, you know, it'll take a few months to blend. I know all the fragrance guys, they'll help me out. 4.5 years later, we got to market. So we really took about 4.5 years. And that's where actually, Kira, your point about, you know, business evolves and you have to change, and it isn't what you expect it to be. And it sure as hell isn't what you write in the business plan, but you should write a plan because from there you can learn, right? And I'm an idiot. I didn't write a plan for too long in my first company. So I learned that lesson. But yeah, I think the whole journey of Scentered has been, I guess we've been properly in the market about 3.5 years now, and we've been extremely lucky on various channels. We're doing some incredible work with some incredible people. And actually, I think if we can combine natural health and wellness with our habits and our exercise, then we live better lives. So I can only wish the people well.
Thank you. And actually, we have a great question here also, another great question. Jennifer Tipton asks, are there any essential oils that ease menopause symptoms but don't increase estrogen?
I'm not medically qualified to really give advice, right? And I wouldn't want to, but but I am going through menopause and I'm getting as much sodding advice as I can on this miserable journey from hell. I don't know if I can say what I know. I mean,
what works for you? What do you feel like?
So very genuinely, I used to think the Love fragrance smelt hideous, was hideous, did nothing. But somebody else convinced me that that was not the case. And we brought it to market because we were pretty sure about the piece of inner strength. And I think that the rose blend with jasmine, and I don't know if you've ever smelt natural jasmine, but jasmine is just the most uplifting of oils. If you smell a flower of jasmine, it really is, it's beautiful. Right? I don't know if it's a very common flower in your country. It's certainly not common very common in England. It has a very short period of time the way our weather works. But I would check out and get advice, but I do know that this balm is helping me.
So does anyone else have a question? Okay, she says thank you. And Nicole says that she loves the name Scentered. I have to echo that. I agree. I love that name, the mindfulness, the scent. I think it's a great name. Well, y'all, I'm going to just put it out there. This is your time. Oh, yes, here we go. Amber asked a quick question. I would love to hear about how you both choose to collaborate with people in your own businesses. How you choose to collaborate with people in your own businesses. Do you have a recipe you can share on who, when, and how you choose?
So may I just, so I think that's a great question because there's hierarchy, right? There's an age of a company. But the truth is that business should also be about a hand out and a hand up in the structure. And I think the boys club, where they help each other out, works a lot better than ours for some reason. Yeah. So I'm not very hierarchical. I think if somebody asks you to do something, and if you've got the time and they're a good partner, you should bend over backwards to work with them. And of course you might make decisions because clearly you've got one bigger customer than another, and then there are priorities about, you have to sometimes make business decisions based on a profit and a performance metric. But profit doesn't just come in dollars and cents. It comes in how you feel about something, how you relate to something. And I think part of it, and I think Kira will agree, but it's a relationship thing as much as it is a product and how many flipping Instagram followers I've got and you've got. I think there's a lot of, and frankly, there's a lot of rubbish talked about that anyway. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I hope that helps, Amber.
Kira, would you like to add to that? You're muted.
Oh, sorry. I almost want to hand this one over to Kira, our marketing manager, because she is the one that is doing the initial, who should we be collaborating with? But I will let you answer that one, Kira, but I do want to add that I am really inspired by women being brave and doing something in a competitive environment and building something on their own. And that's what really cuts through for me. And women do need to support other women. It's absolutely critical. And so anyway, but Kira can tell you more about how we're really looking and reaching out to collaborators.
In terms of the VIP program, I think one thing we're really looking for is things that are useful to women in their daily lives. And that's what we really saw with Scentered, is this is something that's actually going to impact us on a daily basis. And we have so many brands that are lined up that I'm really excited for our VIP customers to experience. They're really just special products that you are excited to get in the mail, that you're excited to use on a daily basis. So I really love that about Scentered, and I'm excited to get in my pack soon. So.
Yeah, shopping after this. So, yeah. Well, why don't we go ahead and in the chat, all of you who are able to go ahead and put down 3 of the scents that are in the mini pack, so that mini tin, so that you can be entered to into this raffle. So just take a moment and write those down. But I just wanted to also echo, I'm so grateful that we're doing this. And I think it's so important that women support each other. And, I feel like there is a real, for whatever reason, whether it's conditioned or not, there's a real hesitation, I think, for women to ask each other for help, especially when it's in a professional setting. And so I think this is so great that we are doing this, and to hear people like Lara and Kira and how that they are actively, involved with their community. And I like that, like, look, only 16% of funding is going to women. Let's change that.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, Lisa, if you don't mind me, I'll interrupt you. But
Sweet.
I think something I've forgotten to say, and given the fact that I'm a bit gray-haired in the business world because I started when I was 23 with my first company and I sold that 12 years ago. The other thing for the younger people or any person running a business is funding is one thing, but so is the financial planning. And something that I have seen, because I'm now an investor in brands, is that too many times women don't believe in themselves enough, right? And whilst you don't necessarily have to do all of the numbers and enter all of the boxes in the accounts, I would suggest it is vitally and critically important that you do your accounting sense check and you know where your cash is and you know what the movement of the money is in your business, so that you don't get caught out when, unfortunately, things go wrong. I mean, all of us have had a pretty hideous time recently, and some much more than others, but those that had their head around the finances, they knew what their bandwidth was, they knew what their agility could be, they knew how they had room to pivot or not.
Mm-hmm.
And some people had to make some horrible decisions about letting great friends go and business partners separated, and there's been a pretty tough time. But what I can say to you is, if ultimately you are always running the business with the numbers genuinely into the best of your ability, your team will always gather around you and go the extra mile. They really will. But you must do the numbers when you're running a small company, because otherwise, before you know it, it isn't a lack of success that most businesses fail for. It's because they're too successful and they don't plan the future. And that's terrible, right? So we need to do that better.
Thank you. That's great advice. It's great advice. So thank you so much. And I can see here that there's a lot of people saying thank you. They put the 3 different smells that are in there. If there's anybody else who hasn't done it yet, hurry, put it in there. But do you have a blog or anything that you would like to have people come to keep up on Scentered and the things that you're doing inside your company?
Yeah, I mean, if you go to the Scentered website, we're working literally daily to not follow the same path as others, but to be just really genuine about finding the right messages and the right content. So there's some really good content articles. And actually, we love to hear from people to say, I mean, I'm just laughing, Kira, you need to be doing a maternity line. And that's not a terrible idea, actually, because I see more. I've got 2 women who will definitely, I need to buy it for. But, I mean, I think that answers the question. And I mean, you don't maximize your potential every day. You just keep looking for this regular gain to stay in the game and have some fun, as you quite rightly said, Kira.
Jane, I just want to say really quickly, because Jane Hahn has a question, and she's actually our winner. Woo, woo, Jane. She asked the question, would you consider a youth ambassador program for young women who want to get involved in women-owned businesses in a meaningful way? I work with intelligent young adults, high school, who are looking for progressive experiences and mentorships.
So is that one to me?
Yes.
Okay, so
I think both.
Okay, so yeah, correct. So I hate to do this, but I'm going to do it because I think it's a good example. So I'm very lucky. I get asked quite a lot to mentor people. And because of the nature of how I've chosen to lead my life at the moment, I'm saying no to mentorship, because in Britain, we've had a government offer where we bring in Kickstarters. I think it's a terrible title, but we bring in young people between the age of 16 and 22. And I have currently 6 on the books in the last very little while. So in effect, I'm doing my own internal mentorship. But what I can underline, and I promise you, everybody in the room, throughout my first company, which was 17 years, and it's how I then allowed myself to make the money for Scentered, I had a different mentor for every 2 or so years. And I was always picking, like, I'd need a Kira for marketing, and I'd need another person for recruitment. And then I'd need to learn more about the financial side. So I kind of had a friendship, and it's an exchange of views mentorship where I learned from them, they learned from me. And for about 2 years, I tried to ask everything in the universe. And then I changed for a new kind of mentorship because it kept me fresh. And I think that's mentoring is so powerful. But for me right now, I can't cope with more. So women, the lesson is learn to say no, because it's important, right? It's really important.
Thank you. Kira?
Not sure much I can add much to that, because that is such an important lesson. I mentored quite a bit over the last few years. My team's aware of that. I started a Thursdays club and was mentoring other women businesses in various stages of their journey, some total startups, like just concept, to others considering leaving their executive careers and how do they start a business, at that point in their life. It was incredibly rewarding, but also very challenging. And as we're now thinking about how can we develop this program even further, and we do have some really good stuff coming down. So I don't want to spill the beans yet because we're still talking about it. I think there are other ways to provide support outside of the one-to-one. And that's a little bit what Lara was talking about. So the one-to-one is really, really important. And I feel, yeah, it is. And it will probably always be something that I'm doing some level of, but there's only so much that you can do. And what we're trying to create is something that could offer more repercussions and be a little bit bigger than that. So we'll announce that soon, but great question.
Well, thank you. We've gone long, but it's because there's just such great information. I think I just want to thank everybody again. And I would just say to Jane, why don't you invite some of these young women to come to the next webinar? I think that it's a good way to learn and to ask questions, as we've clearly seen here. But thank you to all of you who have come. Some people have had to hop off, but again, once more, Lara, thank you so much for sharing your time and your knowledge.
Nice to meet you, Lisa. Nice to meet you. Nice to see you all. And thank you for inviting me. I'm going to love you and leave you. It's nearly time for my supper.
Right.
It's in England. Take care.
Thank you.
Such a pleasure. Thank you for joining us, Lara.
Thanks, Kira. Nice to see you.